3, we'll talk about homeowners insurance. So just have a highlighter and follow along there, okay? So for homeowners insurance, it protects owners against fire, burglary, flood, and storm damage, okay? I've had friends, after a storm, their basement was full of water, okay? They came home from a trip, and all of a sudden the basement has like 5 inches of water throughout the whole basement. That's a big problem, right? What do? You call insurance. You ask them, am I covered? Okay. It covers your contents, the building, and any liability that you may cause. So let's say, I'm thinking of your fence. Let's say the fence, or you build something, you build a structure, and somehow it falls over to your neighbor and causes damage. Let's say you build a tree house, okay, and that falls over and it falls into your neighbor's property and they have a shed and it damages their shed. That would also be covered under homeowners insurance. Theft, guys. Did you know that if your bike gets stolen, you can use home insurance to make a claim? The only thing is, you might want to call your insurance to see if it's worth it, okay? If it's worth it, because sometimes it costs you a little bit to make that claim, okay? Right, house insurance. Insurance for people that own a house, obviously. Own a house or a condominium. Condominium is like an apartment block, but you own your actual dwelling, right? Covers contents and homeowners itself, building itself. Did you know that if you lending institutions such as banks will not give you a mortgage until you show them proof that you have insurance for the house? Okay. Here, guys, are some factors that affect your insurance. Got it? These are the things that you can mention when it comes to, hey, what would affect someone's insurance? The first one is location. Okay, so factors that affect your insurance. Location, distance from a fire hydrant or fire hall. The time it takes for emergency services to arrive will impact damages, okay? So in the table, therefore, you have 4 different areas, right? The 4 areas are basically determine whether you pay more or less for your insurance. I will just say this. Circle emergency services. So that is what the province is going to be key on. If they ever ask you, why does somebody that lives in Metro Winnipeg and Area 2, why do they pay different amounts? And the key word is going to be the distance from emergency services is going to be the key contributing factor as to who pays more. Type of coverage. What type are you choosing? Are you wanting a comprehensive, or do you just want standard? Standard versus comprehensive is another factor that affects your insurance. Comprehensive covers a wider range of items, and right, it could be very expensive items, like if you have a coin collection, if you have jewelry, very expensive jewelry, that's all covered under comprehensive. So think of it as the deluxe. This is basic, and deluxe covers just everything. If you bring let's say you bought a 75-inch TV and you go down the stairs with it and you trip and it breaks, that is also covered. You may have to pay a deductible. I'm not sure, but you may be covered for that. If you have a very expensive camera and you're traveling, you're out of the country and they steal it, right? A $3,000 camera, you might want to look into your house insurance, see if you can claim it. They may pay most, if not all of it, okay? I'm just going to give you advice on the side. I don't have that on here, but if you buy big ticket items, try to take a picture of the bill. Like any big thing that you're buying, take a picture, have it on your camera roll, because if they ever ask you, hey, do you have proof that how much it cost you? You're like, here's my receipt right here. And it might be like 5, 6, 7 years from when you bought it, but it's still nice to have that. Another thing is the value of your home is going to be a big contributing factor for your insurance premium. Okay, right? Because they look at the replacement cost, like how much is it going to cost them to replace your house if it burns down. Additional coverage, okay? If you want any additional coverage for your home. So for example, when it comes to water damage, there's overland flooding, groundwater, and sewer backup. Like these are all extras that you add to your insurance. Because apparently sewer backup, that's the nastiest of them all. In 1997, after that big snowstorm, 1996 snowstorm, that spring, when that water melted, a lot of houses had like sewer coming into their house. That's like other people's poop, guys, that comes into your house. And so that was nasty. You had to rip everything out. So you need a special insurance for that, okay? Another one is your deductible. I'm going to change colors here. It depends on the deductible you want. And what is the deductible? It's the amount you have to pay when you make a claim. A higher deductible will lower your insurance premium. Okay? Deductibles may vary from $200 to $15,000 plus. Okay? So here's an example. If a window has been smashed due to a break and enter, and it costs $1,200 to replace it, if you have a $200 deductible, the total repair cost to you would be $200. Okay. So even if it's $1,200 to replace the window, they would say, well, you got to pay your $200 deductible. We'll cover the rest. Okay, they cover the rest. They cover the $1,000 basically. But to you, it's like $200. That's what it costs you. If you have a $1,000 deductible, the total repair cost to you would be, guess what? $1,000. So they would cover the $200 that is still left. So the deductible is basically what you must pay out of your own pocket. So I don't know if you understand what's happening here, but what if the window, replacing the window is $800 and you have a $1,000 deductible? Would it make sense to make a claim? It costs $800 to replace the window. You have a $1,000 deductible. Don't make the claim, guys. Just go pay the $800 to replace it, because otherwise the insurance company will say, you got to pay $1,000 no matter what. You make a claim, you pay us $1,000. We'll replace that window, but you're losing, right? You're losing $200 in that case. So the deductible is kind of like a deterrent to prevent you from just claiming anything that goes wrong in the house, okay? So that's what the deductible is there for. Discounts. That's also going to affect your insurance premium. Do you have any discounts? Do you qualify for a discount? That's not my Ring doorbell. Do you have a... So they look at claim-free history. So if I got my... I have to renew my insurance every year. Okay, guys? Every year you have to renew your insurance. And if you have a claim-free history, if you've never made a claim, you get a discount, which is quite a bit, a couple $100 off. Okay, is it a smoke-free home? So they actually ask you, is anybody in the home smoking? If the answer is no, then you get a discount. Do you have a monitored alarm system? So you get about 10% off for an alarm system. If it's monitored, you get an additional 5% off sometimes. So think about it. If your insurance is $1,000 and get a 15% off, you're saving $150 just right there, okay? Another one is the building itself. Okay, the building itself, the value of the home, the age of the building, the type of the building. Is it bungalow, 2-story, side by side? Is the garage attached? What type of electrical wiring do you have? Okay. aluminum is not good. I'm just going to tell you that. So before you buy a home, make sure you check, you get someone to inspect it, and copper wiring is where it's at, right? Copper wiring is like the standard. If you have aluminum wiring, aluminum heats up really, really fast and it causes a fire. So if you plug in a heater and a toaster oven into the same outlet or same circuit, you might actually cause a fire. So aluminum, they do not like aluminum. Insurance companies often say, nope, I'm not insuring you. So if you have a house that cannot be insured, you're in big trouble, okay? So these are things that I would expect you to know. Like, these are things that can affect your coverage. So just have a couple on your study sheet so you know what can affect your insurance, okay? All right, keep going. We're gonna go to I'm gonna go to 49 and just review insurance with you real quick before the AC. 49, question 7. I don't know if you did this already. Let me just get to it. Okay. So what's the cost to insure a home in Metro Winnipeg? Important. For $250,000, that's also important. So Metro, $250,000 worth of coverage. You want comprehensive insurance. And you want a $200 deductible. All of these things help you narrow it down, okay, guys? So looking at this big formula, there's a table rate plus over. You might be over by a certain amount. You got to multiply that by a dollar amount over 1,000. That all gets multiplied by 1.10. And at this point, you should know what each piece does. Okay? So the table rate, you got to have your yellow table. Okay, this handout. Let's go to, it's homeowners insurance, guys. It's not tenant insurance. That's when you rent. So I'm going to go to Metro Winnipeg Comprehensive. Metro Comprehensive, you got to go all the way down because it's maxing out at 200,000. Grab the 771 and also the 350 because that's how much extra you're going to have to pay for every $1,000 of additional coverage. So we go 771 plus, how much are you over by? It's 50,000 that you're over by, right? But in case you're missing that, I'm going to do that on the side here. This is the max. You're over by 50,000. Yeah. So 50,000 over. We're going to put that in here into our formula. And you're going to pay $3.50 for every $1,000 that you're over. Close the square brackets. Do we need to multiply by 1.10? Yes, because it's a $200 deductible. So that stays. And now clean it up. 771 plus. We'll do this separately. So you go 350 divided by 1,000 times 50,000. So you pay $175 extra for the extra 50,000 that you want. The 1.10 happens at the very end. So we add the 175 to the 771 to get 946. And then we multiply by 1.10. This would be a $500 deductible premium right there. But we want a $200 deductible, so we have to add 10%. So our final answer is $1,040.60. Okay. So one more example for you to try that here. 49 and 50 are there for you. Let's try 50 just to give you an idea here. Why is tenant insurance cheaper than homeowners insurance? Tenant insurance only covers contents. Okay? Homeowners insurance covers contents, building, and liability. You know what? Contents and building is good enough. You made your point there. They've never asked the difference between standard and comprehensive on an exam, but the standard is also called broad insurance. Standard only covers.
Mr. Petrie, please come to the office, please. Mr. Petrie, please come to the office, please.
For the most part, standard will cover only named items. So the policy will be like we cover furniture, we cover appliances, we cover certain things, that's it. Whereas comprehensive covers all items. So there's no limitation under comprehensive as to what they will cover. That is the main difference between them, okay? It's just a better policy and it's not that much more. So I would always suggest go comprehensive. But if you want to say, how can someone save money? Switch from comprehensive to standard. Or go from a $200 deductible to a $500 deductible.
Mr. Petrie, please call into the office. Mr. Petrie to the office, please.
Two factors that affect your insurance premium. So here's what you can mention here. Value of home, location, in particular distance from emergency services. Discounts, claim-free, smoke-free, etc. And sometimes students ask, like, how do they know if I'm lying about smoking, right? Well, if the cause of the fire can be related back to a cigarette, they can possibly refuse coverage, right? So you want to be honest about that. So these are just a couple. Deductible, I'm going to throw the deductible in there. 200 versus 500. And this course only covers those two deductibles, but I know that big apartment blocks have like a $10,000 deductible or $15,000 deductible. So big apartment buildings are not just going to make a claim unless it's huge, a huge loss for them. They're going to try to fix everything themselves. Okay, a window smashes, they're going to replace it themselves. They're not going to make a claim. Okay, so but for us it's only 200 and 500. But my house insurance is $1,000 deductible for me. Okay, because it makes my insurance even cheaper, and I'm not going to make a claim for just a small thing. It's going to be big, like my roof. My garage door gets backed into or something. That's going to be major things is what I'm going to claim. Okay. One more thing before I give you the AC. This is an oddball question. I'm going to tell you that already. 54. This is brand new. You're the first group that gets to see this one. Maybe the second group. I feel like you're the second group. But this is from an old exam question. January 20, not very old, but January 2025. So it didn't happen too long ago. So this is kind of what the question read, okay? And it kind of threw us off a little bit because we were so used to just using the table. So we know that the home insurance premium is $1,600 annually. That is how much we're paying for insurance. It's been already calculated. She chose a comprehensive policy with an $800 deductible. So notice that there's an $800 deductible. Like, what's up with that odd number, right? But just go with it. The insurance company offers a 10% discount on the following year if there's no claim made during the first year. Calculate the total cost Jamie will pay over a 2-year period if she's claimless the first year, but makes a claim for a damaged roof after in this year number 2, so year 2. So how much will you pay in the 2-year period? So here we go. Year 1. Year 1, she'll pay the $1,600, right? No question about that. You pay the $1,600. Year 2, you pay the $1,600, but you're going to get a discount. Minus discount. But here's the kicker. This is what a lot of students miss. They got this one right, but if you make a claim, what are you going to pay? Yeah, plus the deductible. Since you make a claim, you have to pay your deductible. So for year 2, it was $1,600 minus, what's 10% on $1,600? I hope that, yeah, $160. That's a $160 discount. Okay, so we're going to subtract the $160 because we did make a claim the first year, but then we're going to add the deductible to it. And I'm going to color code this guy. So the $160 is here for discount, and I'm going to use orange for this guy. And I'm going to go circle my 800 up here in my question. Right? So that's where I got the 800 from there. So it's 160, sorry, 1,600 minus 160 plus 800. So year 2, you paid $2,240 for insurance. And now we got the total. 1,600 plus 2,240. That's $3,840. That is the total you would have paid over a 2-year span. Okay, so quite a few moving parts here. I just wanted to be aware of the deductible. That's what a lot of students missed. You gotta pay it when you make a claim. Suggest one change that she can make to reduce her premiums. Go pick what you can, comprehensive. So I would say this, switch from comprehensive to standard. That's another one that's one thing you could say. What else can you change? Deductible, lower your, increase your deductible, that's what I meant to say. Increase the deductible. You don't have to mention a specific amount. Just say increasing your deductible would also save you money. Yeah. Meridian is considering purchasing two houses that are located in areas 2 and 4. So one of the 2 she's interested in. Explain why the home insurance in area 2 is less expensive than in area 4. Be specific. It is due to the distance of the home to emergency services. That, like, I will highlight the emergency services part